Hey everybody, Sean Bergman of E-ville Geckos here, and it's November, so that means no shave November, so I'm not going to be shaving anymore for November. I'm going to try to let it grow out as much as possible. I don't grow much facial hair, but we're going to give it a shot. Got to support the prostates. But in all seriousness, what I'm here to talk to you about today is we're going to talk about the patternless stripe. We're going to talk about what it is exactly, kind of what it looks like. I'm going to try to draw it out because I think that would be a little bit easier for people to understand if they actually see a little representation of it. So I'm going to give it my best shot, and we're going to see. And if you find, I hope everyone finds this helpful that has questions about it, because it's a subject that there's not a lot of info on, and it doesn't go into great detail about it. So here we go. Alright guys, so what I've done here is I've drawn out like a little gecko torso, I guess you could say. It doesn't look like much right now, but it should be a good representation once I get started. To start off, patternless stripe is a combination between reverse stripe and a regular dorsal stripe. Now, that kind of sounds confusing, and frank, it is. But hopefully when I draw this out, it will be a little bit more helpful and you'll understand it a little bit better. So to hop right in, we're going to do our dorsal stripe. So with a dorsal stripe, you'll have your darker pigments on the outside of the middle. Alright, so there you go. So you'd have your lighter pigments here in the middle and your darker pigments on the side. That would be a stripe. Bold stripes are basically the same thing. They're basically a stripe that's just line bred to be a little bit thicker. So that would be that. And then we would have our reverse stripe, which would be next. So the reverse stripe is actually the exact opposite. So instead of it having dark pigments on the sides, its dark pigment is right down the middle. So there's your dark pigment right there, and then you'd have your lighter colors on the sides. So it's completely opposite to this. Now, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. So you take those two stripes, right? So that we have, let me drop another horrible looking gecko belly. Jesus, guys, come on. Everyone's tearing up their houses over here. Sorry. So here we're gonna go ahead. So I'm gonna leave a little bit of a space so everyone can tell what I'm exactly talking about here. So here's our dorsal stripe, right? So when the dorsal stripe is combined with the reverse stripe, you basically get a solid looking animal, but yet it cancels each other out. So basically what I'm saying is they cancel each other out, right? You would think that a patternless stripe would be completely black like that, but really what all it ends up being is a completely light animal. So you wouldn't have any kind of like really pattern or anything to actually show you that there is anything going on there. Honestly, and when they hatch out, they're patternless, essentially. I mean, patternless stripe, that's where, it gets its name from. It doesn't have bands or anything. There's no any kind of pattern. It's a solid animal. So that's where you get your patternless stripe. And like I said, let me really enforce this. It cancels each other out, because since the dark pigments are here, right? The light pigments are there on the reverse stripe, or the light pigments are on the other side of the reverse stripe. It completely just cancels each other out. So you end up with a solid bodied animal. So it has a solid color, no pattern or anything. So I hope that kind of makes it clear. Let me just reiterate it again. You have your stripe, your dorsal stripe where the light colors are here, your reverse stripe where the light colors are on the side and the dark pigments in the middle. And when you combine those, they completely cancel each other out, basically, look wise, because you'll have lighter colors all over the animal. You won't have a solid black animal or anything like that. Even though that would be pretty cool, that's not how it works. So that is Patternless Stripe in a nutshell. I'm actually going to show you one of my favorite animals that is a Patternless Stripe, and talk to you about like how they hatch out, what they look like at first, and hopefully then I'm going to talk a little bit about what Patternless Stripe can do for you and stuff like that. So hold on a second and let me end this video, and I'll go get some animals and I'll show you. Alright guys, so these are my two Patternless Stripe animals that we got here. I just want to say that you can produce Patternless Stripe multiple ways. It's not just through stripes to reverse stripe. You can actually produce them from jungle to jungle, or jungle to stripe, or reverse stripe. It's a little weird and confusing, but it's best to just to describe it as stripe times reverse stripe. I wasn't giving out like a way to create it. I'm just saying that's basically how it acts. And so these are your patternless stripes here, and a way to tell right from hatching if your animal's a patternless stripe is, unlike hypos will still be banded. A patternless stripe animal will have a completely solid body look like this. I mean, it won't have any pattern or anything like that. Right from birth, you'll be able to tell that this is a patternless stripe, no matter what. So you can see that it's a completely solid body color. Everything's completely solid about these animals. There's not any kind of pattern or anything. There's a few little odd things I would like to show you though with their tails. It seems like when the keratin their tail kind of shows off that there is something going on there on the body underneath basically the layers. Like I said, it cancels it out, but it looks like there's still like a little bit of evidence of what's going on actually in the keratin of the tail, and in this one you can see it really well. So that would be. So I think that's a little bit of evidence to it, but I mean it's easy to tell right away as soon as they hatch that you have patternless stripe animals. So I hope this video helped you guys out today. Wait. Yeah, I forgot to mention the best part about patternless stripe. So patternless stripe a lot comes up with raptor, and the reason it comes up with raptor is because patternless stripe played a huge role in the eclipse gene. And basically a raptor is Tremper albino eclipse. And back when it first was created, it used to be, and some people still think today, that a raptor has to be a Tremper albino patternless stripe eclipse. And in a way that is true. Hey you guys, I just threw these two in here to show them off because it's a little bit easier to do it this way. But they're both females and they don't live together like this. It's this clean tub. So anyways, patternless stripe, when they started breeding patternless stripes together, and when they started breeding patternless stripes together, they started noticing that they were getting these animals with pigment in their eyes, the eclipse gene. And so they kept breeding it, and finally they realized that the patternless stripe was a link to the eclipse gene. And what's really cool about it was what I thought out of the whole project was that eclipse was separated out from a polygenic gene, and it's a recessive gene now. So out of two patternless stripe animals, or out of not just two, but there was plenty of patternless stripe animals when this project was going on, that they started producing eclipse that was a completely different gene. So it's very much so linked to patternless stripe. And actually, if you can create eclipse the same way they did back then by breeding two patternless stripe animals together. And I've actually done it, so I know it works, and it makes sense that it would work because you're basically doing the same thing they did back in the day. So, yeah, I've always thought that was really cool about patternless stripes. And another thing before I go, what will patternless stripe throw at you? It's a really cool animal because I love the solid look of the solid look of it is just absolutely awesome. And then you add you know, it's just a really cool look because you're used to seeing jungles, you know, bands and stuff like that. Patternless Stripe's a little bit different, and it looks killer with white and yellow. I love it. And what will it throw with your babies? Well, a lot of people think that they're going to be bland and boring, like it's just going to be this solid look every time. Patternless Stripe will throw you every time, especially if you don't breed it to something else that's, you know, something that's banded. I mean, you can get, like I said, you could, if you breed two Patternless Stripe animals together, you can start getting eclipse out of, you know, animals that didn't have eclipse in their background, even though that's kind of hard to say anymore that there's animals that don't have, that aren't had eclipse, you know, it's kind of surprising. But you can also get jungles and stripes. It's just a really cool polygenic gene. It's actually one of my favorite polygenic genes. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. You know, I really enjoyed talking about it, and hopefully you guys learned a little bit, because this subject's a little bit of one that's a little bit it's not so, there's information out there about it, but it doesn't go into great detail about it. And so and so I hope, you know, this helped out a little bit. If I got something wrong, or if you think I'm just an idiot or something like that, or that I'm the worst YouTube personality ever, you're probably right on the last one. Leave it in the comments below. The link to my business page, E-ville Geckos, will be in the description below. Please sound off comments for like any future videos, because, you know, I'm kind of wanting, because basic care videos are kind of out of the way now for the most part. I'll have some feeding videos and some how to set up some stuff, and that will be about it for like basic care videos and stuff like that. So please hit me up with some videos regarding genetics and stuff like that. And I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope this helped you out. So everybody take it easy. E-ville Geckos is signing out.